Welcome back, good folks, where we shall depart for Iona. Well, without further ado,
Joseph and Fleece set sail for the island monastery of Iona, home of the guardians of the great library. In the age of the gods, the monastery had been the citadel of Iona, daughter of Amasido, god of the sea. And here, the first 13 kings of Mediva lay entombed in their crypt, buried after the chaos of 10,000 years.
Look, Joseph, we made it. So this is the island of madmen and sorcerers.
very nice introduction to Iona there. Very, very nice actually. One of my favourite cutscenes. Also pretty accurate. Having the oars out and rowing the ship into dock there. They had the sails down though. If you're going to dock a ship, you do not want the sails deployed if you're doing so. So I had to deduct a point from that volition. But hey, at least I had the rowing going on there. I believe they call this ship a galleys. So galleys is a type of ship that mostly relied on rowing as their form of propulsion. They used sails as well, but rowing was the preferred method of propulsion for those for the galley ships. Interesting. Yeah, be warned, probably a lot of dialogue in this episode. There's a lot to hear in this one. Or, well, to read, at least. So I may end up being very quiet from time to time. The regular club, very nice. A nice assortment of spell scrolls as well. Can I sell my dagger? Won't need that. Short sword as well. By the way, something I've not mentioned yet. Something I should go over real quick. So, you can stock up as many items as you want. However, when it comes to items that have multiple charges, such as this fire arrow tract, you see it has 5, so it's a multi-charge item. You can only hold one of these items at any given time. If they're single charge, such as these, there's no limit to the amount you can hold. Multi-charge, not so much. You can only hold one at a time. Speaking of which, I'm going to sell this tract, because you do find another one on this island. And as you can only hold one of them at a time, well, might as well make a little bit of cash. Also, cleansing token, very nice. Caretaker of the island. Mad monks of the... Yeah. I mean, they are kind of mad. Oh yeah, they are technically prisoners. I mean, that's only half true. When a monk swears the oath of the order, they're actually not allowed to leave the monastery. If they do leave the monastery, they're never allowed to return. Also, is that glass? Glass window on the side there? A very interesting design. Run by a golem. Very nice. It makes sense, why not? Yes, sir, we do wish to ascend. Please. Yeah, unfortunately you just get a fade to black. There's no animation for that. Like the start, the opening cutscene there. Yeah, so when it comes to Iona Monastery, you have the abbot. The abbot is the main fella in charge of the whole monastery. Below him would be the prior or prioress, as well as the other masters. I believe the priors are the superiors of the monastery, and this is true for pretty much all monasteries. Yeah, this fella here be the keeper of the gate. Very self-explanatory on that one. Master of Arms who trains in physical combat. The Master of Keys, I believe, is more of literature and the study for the mind. So you have mind and body. Chamberlain, I believe, deals with external affairs. As well as resources in and out of the monastery. And the great... Oh, we even mentioned Sir Carados. Yeah, there's a very important name for Iona here. Sir Carados actually founded the monastery and the order back in days of yore. And the great library here, which he established too, apparently houses the divine words of creation. That being AOC. The language of creation. I believe we've come across the name AOC in the Temple of Urath. Very nice architecture, by the way. I mean, I personally wouldn't like to live here. I wouldn't be entirely upset. You definitely feel safe here, but not that I care too much about feeling safe, but You're looking for a truant by the name of Sama. So those not in the know, the word truant means that you're skipping classes. Or bunking lessons, whatever. Sama, a novice. Perhaps we could help. Yeah, we'll let you know. Sure. So there's our first side quest of Iona Monastery. There'll be a few to pick up here. Oh, sir? You okay there? Need a hand? I'll leave you to it, sir. That is an incredibly large fire for that cauldron. That is a very, very big fire. I mean, to each their own, sure. Maybe you need a big fire. Maybe it's the magical fire. Who are we to judge? Did she say spoons and knives are the something to do with the tools of the divine? Interesting. Yeah, I will let you see the dialogue. There'll be a fair few of those dialogue bubbles that come up. I'll show them all off. We are doing 100% Let's Play here. So the cellarer here actually takes care of the children of the monastery. Also, I love how we asked about the balls and swords on their face. Yeah, because apparently when you read the divine words in the Great Library, you succumb to some sort of curse. In this fella's case, boils and sores. Which is probably one of the lesser forms of suffering that this particular monk is going through. Some have it way worse. Yeah, very... Life would not be easy for the young'uns in this establishment. But yeah, the children basically do all the chores for the monks. They do all the chores. As being demonstrated by these sweeping children. Definitely have some interesting things to say while they're doing so. And yes, you can examine all these. This one here, the third one along, is the only one that actually has an item in them. The rest of them are just locked. I'm pretty sure. Ugh, Joseph, can you please stop being drunk? I know you like to be on the bottle. Yeah, the rest of them are locked. Maybe I need to go on the bottle from time to time. Maybe I do. If I was one of these children, I definitely would go on the bottle. Fleers, can you make it outside the room? Thank you. Close the doors behind you, folks. Very rude if you do not do so. Fleers, no, actually you can come in with me. It doesn't matter. Yeah, this has been the Master of Arms. They train physically for the monks. Apparently, it's kind of a mixture of a traditional practice combined with probably taking inspiration from Shaolin Monastery, actually, in China, where they do study Kung Fu, actually. Kung Fu being a very, very good method of keeping up with your fitness. Honestly, if you really do want to take fitness seriously, Kung Fu definitely is something to look into. Especially something like Tai Chi, which many people do practice for the sake of their own health. Yeah, Kung Fu is an art. It's a complete art. And a means of expression as well. It's not just about combat. And I'm assuming the philosophy in Iona Monastery is that they train body and mind. And that's why they learn physical combat. Also, from the traditional sense, as I mentioned, when Iona Monastery was founded, they were, well, a group of knights. Sir Carados had his knight. So they probably just keep up with traditions as well. And yeah, you cannot modify the positioning of those, but those winches apparently do. Also, did I hear a bird? That was a very nice chirp in there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they take inspiration from Shaolin Monastery in China. Yeah, there's some more demonstration of physical labour as well. Those axe heads are very weird, but... Hey, it is Summoner. It is Summoner. They're even tending the hens. We actually heard about the mighty hen from the cellar. No need to call the chickens stupid. They're very sweet. They're even trying to fly a little bit. I actually love the sound effects that the chickens produce here. I believe there's a bunch of chicken in Linnell Marketplace. Yeah, even got the battlements here. I believe these would be referred to as crenellation, where they have the space between. We heard a bit about Iona's history. We'll learn a bit more about the history, actually, from Iona itself. So this person comes from a land far away. And apparently on a cruise, they was attacked by pirates. They suffered a storm as well at the time, and in the pirates' infinite wisdom, because they survived the storm that took place, they decided to offer this fella here as a sacrifice by tying a stone around their neck and throwing them overboard. Keep in mind there's a child at that time when this occurred. How they found their way to Iona remains a mystery, though. That definitely intrigues my interest a bit. Yeah, we can definitely be on the lookout for your brother, Amos. Yes, we will be on the lookout for them, and we'll let them know, and we'll pass a message back to you if we do find them. Yeah, so they apparently on their way over the oceans, attacked by pirates, and then being sacrificed after a deadly storm. I need to find your way to Iona under mysterious circumstances. We will help him out. Mufafi. Another monk or nun, whatever, that comes from a land far away in their past. I believe this person, however, seeks to return back to their homeland. And they're going to give us the story of Iona as well. As I said, we did learn about Iona from the Temple of Urath. It was once submerged under the waves until Vadagar, god of the Kasani, god of the earth, fell in love with Iona. Enraptured by her song, he decided in his infinite wisdom to raise the entire palace of Iona above the waves. Unfortunately, Iona, well, cannot survive outside of water, and, well, died. And so he ended up, well, killing himself. Yeah, the gods weren't exactly smart folk. The gods of Summoner in general were very questionable. And of course Amasido being vengeful. Flooding the cities of the Kasani. Yes, we will definitely let them know. So yeah, another side quest to pick up here. That's the third one actually we picked up. So they wish to return back to their homeland, Mafarfi. And if we're to find a trader that trades between Mafarfi and Medva, well, to let them know that a daughter of the realm awaits for their arrival on Iona. We'll let them know, we'll help them out. I believe this would be referred to as a brazier. Cauldron or brazier of some sort. Very interesting flame there. Just what are they burning though? Giant logs? Sure. I feel that smaller logs would be more efficient, but what do I know? We'll speak to this fellow later, not right now. Yeah, definitely get a good look at the architecture here. The serpents rising from the sides. These bowl-shaped platforms. So in Iona's original concepts, there's actually 4 sections of Iona Monastery. Unfortunately, we only get 2 in the final version. But what they did make is still pretty nice, honestly. I cannot complain. Yes, this fella giving us our 4th side quest just straight up gave us a book and said to us that someday we shall meet a fella looking for this book and we shall be the ones to give it to them. Whatever you say, sir. Whatever you say. I love the coat of arms here. Yes, signifying that they were once a group of knights. An order of knights. Yeah. Not so much nowadays, but hey. They do still physically train. They keep with the tradition there. Some gold to be found. Oh, here's a chamberlain. And the prioress, I believe. And I guess they're handling affairs, especially with Emperor Rod being a bit of a threat. Well, the Chamberlain reckons that Marad will not be a problem for them here on Iona. Let's hope that Iona never succumbs to issues in the future.
I know who you are and why you have come, but I regret I cannot help you. I know almost nothing about your kind. The origin of the summoners was forgotten long ago, though many have left their mark on history.
Yago said you could help me.
Your friend Yago knows more about the summoners than any monk of our order. He left Iona 20 years ago, soon after Murad came to power, and the Jade Temple spoke its prophecy. Yago feared the Emperor would find you first, and Medava would fall under Murad's shadow. Yago chose to leave Iona, and so he may never return to this island.
So that's what Yago meant about his sacrifice.
Do not look so glum, my friend, for there is someone here who can be of assistance to you. Her name is Rosalind, and she is Yago's daughter. A novice of the Order, she has not yet sworn the oath that binds us to this island. Rosalind, you may enter now.
You wish to speak with me, Abbot Laurent?
Indeed. This is Joseph. He is the summoner your father was seeking.
The summoner of the Jade Temple's prophecy? This boy is nothing but a peasant.
Joseph seeks the rings of summoning, and you will help him on his quest.
Help him? My father is the great scholar of summoner lore, not I. If I leave Iona, how will I finish my training?
If you wish to become a monk of this order, you have no choice in the matter.
Yago abandoned my mother for his sake. What do you see in this boy?
Your dear mother died long ago, and if Joseph fails, her sacrifice will have been in vain.
Well, Summoner, why don't you ask the Kasani where to find your magic rings?
The Kosani?
The children of Vadagar and builders of Akamos. Amacito flooded their cities before the renegade.
She's smart for a gutter snipe. The Kasani made the rings, so they might know where they're hidden. They live under Sonovar, Mountain of the Wise.
Yago said the Ring of Light was here.
Here? On Iona? Perhaps in the catacombs below the Crypt of Kings. No one has ventured down there since Carados vanished. We'll ask Brother Ovard. And after we find your ring, Summoner, I'm going back to Linnell with you. It's time I had a word with my dear father.
And just like that, we're introduced to Rosalind, our third party member, and our spellcaster, actually. A young novice who has not yet sworn the oath of the order. So she is free to leave the monastery without any repercussions. Also daughter to Yago, our mentor. And apparently she has some fine words and some bones to pick when she meets him. And yeah, Rosalind is not too happy about our presence. At least she's not a big fan of the summoners, especially considering Yago abandoned her mother and left her to die, basically, for the sake of the summoner's destiny. And yes, Yago himself was a monk of the order. Unfortunately, as he left, he cannot actually return. He actually went out searching for the summoners when he learned of the law, as well as Murad's usurp him to the throne of Arenia. Now, speaking of which, we actually get a little insight on Murad. And apparently Murad was a leader of the Society of the Jade Temple. A priesthood of Arenia who deals with governing the realm. And when he usurped the throne, he enslaved his people to rebuild the Tower of Ela. A tower that we actually heard from at the Temple of Urath, another thing that we heard from there. This tower was used to storm the gates of heaven. And Murad wants to, well, storm the gates of heaven for himself and become the Lord of all creation. Well, he's very ambitious. Also, we learn of some of the previous summoners before us, including Armoon, the last of the priest kings of Akamos. That will become relevant later. Also, the Prince of Lions, very nice. And yes, as we've learned, you do succumb to some sort of curse by reading the tomes of AOC. Poor Abbot Laurent here has become blind. He can, however, see the glyphs of AOC. So he's blind in the sense that he cannot see the physical world anymore. Yeah, you do get a nice bit of backstory from there. And yes, it is Abbot Laurent, yeah. So, pronounced, I believe, in the French fashion. Also, a nice citrine. I'm very happy to have another gemstone added to my collection. Let's have a look at Rosalind here, shall we? Let's actually equip her. Now, the thing you got to learn with Rosalind, she's very picky when it comes to equipment. Not a bad quarterstaff there, actually. Pretty good blunt damage as well, so that'd be very useful. But yeah, she is very picky when it comes to equipment. In fact, how about handing it over to Rosalind? She could definitely do with a speed boost. Have her on healer and caster automatically. That's very nice. Let's actually try and perform that glitch with her, shall we? So I'm going to do some skill point distribution here. Get the heavy arms up a couple. Maybe the summon skill as well. Why not? And we'll do... probably parry. Sure. Flea's, you've got a fair few to throw around. Let's get the sneak up as well. Backstab would be nice. Heavy arms. The praise is always lovely. A couple in parry. A chip is nice too, but I'll do heal. Hide, not heal. Rosalind doesn't have any skill points. Let's see if she gets any. And she does. Very nice. 4 skill points. Very nice. So useful. That's such a useful exploit. We'll do heal. I wouldn't bother with energy. There's only one offensive energy spell, and that would be the lightning spell. Now, you do get empower, I believe, which is pretty useful, but there are better methods. You know, we'll spend the rest of those later. It's nice to see that you got your phantom skill points. Yeah, it doesn't always work. If I... because Rosalind has not leveled up yet, we've just got her. It worked for her. But it doesn't always work. Can you fellas make it outside the doors without any problems? You're still stuck. Can we all get outside the building without any issues? Please. Shut the door behind you, Joseph. Alright, folks. Let's get to the key to the Cryptid Kings. Yes, Rosalind, well, believes that the Ring of Light, if it's to be anywhere on Iona, it may be in the catacombs below the Cryptid Kings, so we're going to need a key to get down there. Brother Ovard, as Rosalind suggested, has the key for us. So, as we established... oh yeah, speak about the 13 clans here. As we've established, Sir Carados, known as Carados the Builder, pretty much established the Order of Iona. However, one day he went down into the catacombs. Never to be heard of ever again. Including his warriors and his knights, who went after him. Nothing was ever heard from them ever again when they went down into the catacombs. Now apparently, because we've already learned about the 13 clans from the previous episode, apparently they each sent a warrior to guard the Cryptid Kings. I'm assuming the Iona Monastery is a neutral ground, or was a neutral ground for the clans, the 13 clans. Oh, I'm stuttering a lot today. You have to forgive me, folks. You have to forgive me. Yeah, I'm assuming it's just a neutral ground for all the clans. So, if we want to find the Ring of Light, as suggested by Rosalind, who believes it would be down there, we're going to go into the Minor Library, key in hand, well, and descend into the depths. Maybe we might learn a bit about Sir Carados. Maybe we will discover his fate. He wouldn't happen to have the key, sir. Indeed he does. And he directs us to the Minor Library. Let's have a look at that key, shall we? A bookcase key. You know, Summoner has very interesting keys. Careful for those pointy bits! Yes, that is a sharp looking key. That is a sharp looking key. It definitely has pointy bits. Oh yeah, the camera goes to high mode here, interestingly. It's actually locked in high. Now, I did have a very interesting discussion a few years back, I believe, with a fellow YouTuber, Mr. Arve Eriksson, who I'd like to consider. Could we consider each other friends? I'll link his channel in the description. But yeah, we had a discussion about why the camera locks to a high position here. Now, he suggested that it's for performance reasons, which nowadays I somewhat agree. I do somewhat agree. As we look into this direction, there is some noticeable issues, or at least a performance drop. So that would make sense. But I also suggest that another reason for it is for the convenience of navigation. Having the high camera here, and you're going down the stairs. Well, the camera being high doesn't clip through the floor. If it was low, it would. So, I'm willing to bet it's probably a bit of both. Maybe it's for convenience of navigation, as well as performance reasons. So maybe we're both correct on that assessment. I'll link his channel, as I said, in the description. A very fine fella. Nahul. So many. I know I keep praising Volition. I need to stop praising them. They did abandon Summoner after all. But yeah, they come up with so many names, so many locations. They built so much of a world. There's so many directions they could have gone with the series, and they just didn't. You know, this fella does mention about, well, a sect of people who opposed Emperor Murad. Many of them were killed due to their opposition to Murad's tyranny. But he, she, Sister Bilan here, asked us to, if we ever was to meet one of her father's disciples. Again, I'm stuttering so much tonight. If we was to ever meet one of her father's disciples, to hand these scrolls over to them, which they may find satisfactory. Also, orange ink. Orange ink. Well, if we do meet one of the disciples, we shall hand them the scrolls. They'd be very happy to obtain those. But yeah, I need to watch my stuttering tonight. This here would be the Great Library. Now we won't be able to go in there, for obvious reasons. Only monks of the order may pass. Fair enough, yes. Yes, madness and chaos lies. As we've established, the curses that you'll succumb to. Some definitely have it worse than others. Yeah, notable performance issues when staring in that direction there. Some more funny monks. Frightened monk. Assuming they read one of the books, yeah. I'm not going to try to pronounce that book. That's one of the AOC tomes. It seems that they're succumbing to some of the effects of reading AOC. Brother Wid. Wid the Terrified. Yet another monk that is succumbing to, well, the madness, the curses of this Yeah, they really have to... I'm assuming that's why they go through such vigorous training to prepare them for all this nonsense. It seems that they're being haunted by phantoms. And they wish for us to, well, reclaim an axe. Specifically the axe of King Icus. And hopefully this should give them peace of mind and help them fend off the phantoms. Sure, we will look out for this axe for you, fella. Yeah, a funny thing about these, at least the Curse of AOC when you read it. In Summoner 2, because Yago returns in Summoner 2, and he is a practitioner. He at least has read the tomes of AOC. For the life of me, however, I don't know if this is just a matter of Volition. It's an oversight on Volition's part. But as far as I know, Yago doesn't have any type of curse. Yet he does read the tomes. Also, this fella who's walking into the wall. This is actually Novice Sama, who is proceeding to walk away from us as we're talking to them. We shall continue to talk to them. Yes, you are the one that the brother is looking for. Our truant. I swear I won't tell. Please. So now we're learning the reason why they're bunking their lessons. Apparently they came across one of the tomes of AOC, left behind by a monk, who forgot to return it to the Great Library. So Novice Sama here took it for themselves. They was originally going to return it, but... well, instead they decided to read it after a while. And we know what happens when untrained minds read tomes of AOC. Anyway, fearing the worst, they kind of don't want to read it anymore and wish to have it returned to the Great Library. Unfortunately, it's something that they just cannot do on their own, as they may, well, suffer punishment for reading the book and having it in their possession to begin with. Yeah, it seems like they're already succumbing to the effects. Well, we can actually help you out, Novice Sama here. Yes, we shall help you out. We can have it returned. And we shall keep it safe. We did make the promise after all. Interesting thing is you do get multiple choices. You can actually tell off and rat her out if you want. Let's have a look at that book, shall we? Sama's book. Where are you? Just a regular looking book. Also our food. I want to have a look at our bread again. That would be so good in soup. That would. Tomato soup. We shall return the book. By the way, if you have engaged that quest with Eldark from the Temple of Urath, the missing initiate, who apparently was involved in the stealing of a relic from the temple. Well, here it is. This only appears if you've engaged the quest. There it is. A very fine looking fur, actually. Very nice work on the texturing department there. I need to stop praising Volition. Yes, they done a good job. They done a very good job. Yeah, that performance, those frame drops there. My good fellow, we have a book to return to the Great Library. And of course, as I mentioned, you can rat them out if you want. If you select that a monk asked you to return it, or if you found it in an orchard, they'd actually believe you if you pick those options, but they will still return it regardless. Anyway, we promised we wouldn't tell. Thank you very much, sir. Yes. Now, if you do rat Salma out here, there are actually no repercussions for doing so. You won't suffer any negative issues from doing so. Like, it all plays out the same, regardless. You still get the same reward. And that, as I say, would be that. Yes, we did return the book. And we gave it to the keeper of the Great Library. And again, you're walking away from me as I'm talking to you. No, we did not tell. Just continue to talk to Finnair, Joseph. I'm a little defeated today. Yeah, as I was saying, yeah, there's no repercussions if you do rat them out. There'd be a difference in dialogue, for sure, but it all plays out the same. One of the monks, or, well, novices, is not entirely happy with the methods of teaching. Also, blonde hair. Golden hair, actually. Very perky. Yeah, there's those frame drops here. It does look nice. It's a very pleasant sight. A very interesting architecture on when it comes to Iona Monastery. We'll let them in first, yeah. We'll be polite. Please. Now, this has been a minor library. This is where we need to go to enter the catacombs. There will be several books and tomes to obtain, however. Some wonderful tracts. Also, nice windows they got here. Oh, they're actually transparent too. Unnecessary, but hey, it's pretty nice. Can't seem to find too many books, but there are them. Volume 67. That'd be for the crazy book nerd back in Linnell. Very perky, very nice, luxurious looking book there. Fire arrow tract. As I said, you do get one here, and that's why I sold it earlier. Being a multi-charge item, you can only hold one of them at a time. So as we do find one here, I may as well have it sold. If you desire a way into the catacombs, speak to the two wise kings, King Iacus and King Gavin. That would be important. That will be important when we do enter. Master of Keys, the last of the masters. There are 6 masters, if not stated already. Including Abbot Laurent. Abbot Laurent being the 7th. Well, yeah, you have Abbot Laurent and then you have the 6 prioresses, superiors. They're training the novices here as well, by the looks of it. Mind over matter. Let's have a word with them. Very interesting what they said there about dreams becoming matter, or something along those lines. And they do go in depth about AOC here, the language of creation. As well as Guval, who we've heard from the temple. Guval, according to the Temple of Urath, is the main god that everything comes from. And AOC is a language of creation, as established. But according to the Master of Keys here, at least they believe in a different philosophy in the monastery, where Guval and AOC are one in the same thing. And when the gods banished Guval from the heavens, they had him trapped in books, which became the tomes of AOC. Now, these books are housed in the Great Library to this day. So, when you're reading AOC, you're reading Guval. That makes sense, I suppose. According to the Master of Keys, if anything was to happen to the Great Library and the tomes were destroyed, it would mean that Guval would become released and would mean the end of the world as we know it, which can be no good for us. Well, let's at least pray that nothing bad ever happens to the Great Library. A very interesting philosophy, though. It's pretty cool, actually, that there are two different philosophies on the creation of the world in two different locations, which is pretty realistic. Why wouldn't there be? Also, this would be the way into the Crypt of Kings and to the catacombs, but we'll do it in the next episode. We'll save that until then. I hope you've enjoyed. It's been a bit of a lengthy one. A lot of dialogue. I did warn you, it's going to be a lot of dialogue. A lot of reading. Much to learn, much to see. But hey, lore plentiful, right? Well, I'll catch you in the next one. I hope you've had a good time, folks, and have a nice day. See you in the next one.